So, everyone's favorite way to start a conversation. I saw a Neil deGrasse Tyson clip today that really got me thinking, and not in the way that Neil meant to. Neil, if you're watching, I'm sorry, the clip didn't do it. But it got me thinking in another way, right? It was a clip where Neil deGrasse Tyson was talking about, God, right? And they asked him, like, do you believe in God? And he was like, no, because they say that God is like all-powerful or all good, like something along those lines. And he's like, but war, famine, disease, all these things, how could I? So he was like, either he's not all-powerful or he's not all good. This is like a super regular take to hear. I feel like this is on the front of r/atheism, which I've never been on that subreddit, but like I feel like I make fun of it a lot. I don't know why. It's just like, it seems like such a funny place to be. Like, is that weird that I think that? Like, I feel like that's such a funny, like, oh, I'm gonna hit up Reddit and talk about the fact that I don't believe in God. Like, that's like, I don't know. It's like me starting a group to talk about the fact that, like, I just don't eat mayonnaise. Like, it's me talking about that I don't do something. You know what is there to talk about? I feel like it's like, I don't know. I don't get it. But that... terrible to start off with a side tangent. I hate retention. Anyways, the clip got me thinking, because it was like the first time I'd heard that take in a while, and I remember, as much as I make fun of it now, that's a take that like I had when I was younger. When I was an atheist, that's exactly where my thought process was. I was like, no, either God is, like, this guy's not around clearly if all these hurricanes and stuff are happening. Like, you can't tell me the Black Plague was, like, a good thing. Once again, super normal take to have. But I think what I failed to realize is, like, that it's just a bad take. Obviously, it's a bad take for the most common reason you hear, that, like, just because bad things are happening does not mean, like, bad things happen for the greater good. It's more of, like, people, especially people that are very spiritual, I guess is religious the word? I don't know. I feel like the religious makes it sound too serious, but people that are more spiritual have explained it to me that basically, like, no, it's not that God is all good. It's almost that he's maintaining the perfect balance of good. It's not like he's going to intervene and stop everything, but like he's an all good, the pure essence of morality, right? That's like the real, that's kind of the take that I heard from, I don't know if it was a friend or online, that made me be like, oh, it's kind of a dumb argument. But thinking about it now, like coming back to this position, I feel like it's really strange for a couple of reasons. I want to start here by completely removing this whole conversation from Christianity, right? Because from what I understand, and full transparency, I've never been to church. I've never been religious in any regard. All the way back at Paint&Talk 11, I talk about my religious beliefs somewhat, like my journey with it. And like, even that is not the most, succinct or perfect way of putting things, I don't think. But, taking this away from Christianity, because from what I understand, the Christian belief is not so much that God is more this idea that, like, our morality comes from God. Like, God is the principal model of morality, and we are all being, tested to that standard. Like, he's almost the gold standard. But I want to remove it from that, right? I don't want to talk about, because I know this is an argument mainly levied against Christian gods, because, that's where you hear all the time in Christianity. They're the ones that are like, God is all good, all powerful, right? But I want to take it away from that for a second and just apply this to the idea of any sort of divine creator, right? I think it's a really interesting take to have, because I think that, like, this is where what the whole thought process I had that made me be like, okay, I want to make a Paint and Talk out of this, because I think it's sort of interesting. I feel like the whole conception of God is super flawed, right? Because, like, we think of God, at least in the entire way that I've been raised in America, which is, freedom of religion and all that, but like it's a Christian nation, you know what I mean? We have completely Western morals, Western ideals, all these things. Is God is like a guy in the sky with a big white beard, and he has a halo above his head, and he's like kind of just pulling the strings on everything. He's always there, he's always watching, right? And from that standard, like, the argument makes a lot of sense, right? Of like, if there's a guy up there who's genuinely just the most powerful guy in the universe, yeah, him just being up there and like watching the Black Plague happen would be crazy. That'd be like, I think that'd be good enough reason for everyone to go like, dude, come on, really? Like, you know? So, same thing with like nuclear weapons. Like, to have the idea that there is directly an individual up there watching that happen is like, okay, well, like, come on, man, like, do something about this. And I think this is why, with that conception, I think it makes a lot of sense why people do end up becoming, maybe not atheists, but falling out of favor with religion. Because I think from that understanding, like, it's like, yeah, like, either God isn't real or he's not cool, you know? It's, I think, the conclusion a lot of people would draw. But I think what's interesting here is that this with it comes with two assumptions. I don't know why I did one, two assumptions. One is that God has the same moral compass as mankind, right? And I think this is so hard for me to even think about because, like, I don't even know what morality is, you know? I feel like we're at such a weird time with morals because, like after a certain point, I feel like everyone just kind of decided morals were whatever we made them, which is true, you know, kind of a beauty's in that eye of the beholder situation I feel like we're all in now, where it's like everyone understands that, like, morality is this construct that depends on culture and, like, your experiences and all these things will dictate your morality. But, like, I think with that, we're in sort of, like, this weird place now where it's like, okay, so where do morals come from then? I know Nietzsche has a whole book about that, and I read it when I was 15, so, like, I didn't get that shit, to be honest. Like, I was 15 thinking I could understand it, so I got nothing on that front. But, like, basically this idea that God would have this moral compass that we as humans, like, we came up with morality, right? Like, there is nothing that directly says we needed to say all these things are good or bad, right? So, like, have this idea that God would, like, come along and be like, you know, these guys got it right, I'm gonna follow them, so everything they say is good and everything they say is bad makes kind of no sense, right? Like, maybe in the world God's living in those clouds, he's following a different set of rules, sort of, where, like, famine is good. Like, maybe he's like, no, it's great. It's, I don't know. Like, I don't know why he would think that. I think it's strange because, like, we can all look at that and go, like, that's wrong. But what does the conception of a being who has all the power in the universe look like? Like, how does that, you know, I think this is sort of the major contradiction with God that I find myself thinking about a lot, is like, we made him in our image, and I think it's such a confusing idea that, like, the most powerful being ever would be in humanity's image. And that's the other thing, is like, I mean, the conception of a being is kind of a weird one to have, right? Because from my understanding of it, and I don't know if this is more of like a biological thing, but, like, the only type of people, the only type of sort of, like, breed of guy that is, I don't know if I feel like I should be using more scientific language for this. Human beings are the only beings around, right? We're, like, there's a million more species of rabbit than there are human. There's one species of human, like, we're just Homo sapiens. So why would we go, like, okay, out of all these things existing, he takes on our form? Obviously, I do understand that, like, you know, we made him, we kind of, like, came up with the idea of a god, and of course when we draw this thing, we're gonna draw it to be kind of like us, because, like, that just makes sense. But like taking it, removing all historical context from this, because I don't know the historical context, to be honest, it doesn't make the most sense that he would be a being, right? And I think that's, this whole conversation kind of, I don't know, it's getting me to question my own beliefs religiously, but like it's also kind of reinforcing them because and I learned this word recently actually for what I am. Thanks guys for not commenting on Paint and Talk 11, the 10 people that were watching back then. Wow, that's crazy. Sorry, I just like saying, like making that joke, I processed that, and that's actually kind of insane. That like, what was that, 11? So that was 85 days ago, there were 10 of you, now there's 700. That's actually insane. Like that's so crazy, that's boggling. Okay, guys, I can't get sappy till Paint Talk 100. But this idea, right, that God would be a being doesn't make as much sense as the idea that I feel like I have, and maybe not have, but am more inclined to, and that's pantheism, that like the universe is God, kind of, like that's the gist of it, right? And I think this is sort of a spirituality that like a lot of people have. Like I've spoken to a lot of Christians who literally look at God the same way as me. And like, this is where, I mean, if you guys can't tell from this conversation, religion is perhaps the biggest blind spot I have of anything ever. Like I've been inside 3 churches in my life maybe. One of them I fell asleep in. I was in Canterbury, which is a town like an hour out of London, and they have this really nice cathedral there, right? It's like from like literally Roman times. Like it's a beautiful cathedral. And I went in and I wanted to just go in and look at it because like I didn't have any intentions of getting holy that day. But then like I'm walking up to it and the pastor, the priest, I don't know what he's even called, was outside. And I was like, hey, can I go take a look around? And he was like, no, like mass is starting. And I was like, oh, can I come? Which is such a weird thing to ask. Again, this is how little I know about religion. I was like, can I hang? Like, is this, like, how does that work? Am I, like, I was asking him as if it was just like a function that he was throwing. And he was like, of course, you're more than welcome. So I go in, I sit next to this guy, and I think his name was, it was either Roman or Ronan, but I don't even know if it was either of those. He just really looked like Ron Weasley from Harry Potter. So I imagined it to be an R. No way he was named Ronan, because he was British, and that'd be really weird. So maybe he was named Roman. No, it's a Roman cathedral. I don't know this guy's name. I completely forgot it. And like he's talking to me about like the Canterbury and how beautiful of a town. Beautiful town, by the way. Amazing town, Canterbury. If you can ever go, totally recommend it. He was talking about how great the town was and like how he goes to mass every day. And he started teaching me about religion. And like I just didn't get it because I was like why are they wearing those hats and stuff? And I was really confused. They were wearing like the big bishop hats, I think. I don't know what they were wearing. But then basically, long story short, they start this mass and I fall asleep and snore. Like I snore through this mass. I had this weird dream too that I was in war with like humanoid doves. And it was just like the message I got was like, if there's a God, he does not want me stepping foot in a church. And after, you could tell, like, I woke up and you could tell that guy next to me, Ronan, was mad as fuck that I fell asleep. Like, I look over at him and like, by the time I wake up, it was already over, the whole mass. I don't know what they were talking about there, probably God. And like, he like looked at me, like he gave me that look of like, you just snored in this church. Also though, why didn't Ronan wake me up? Like, come on. Like, why don't we? But either way, I grabbed my backpack, and I was gonna ask Ronan if he wanted to grab a bite to eat, because I didn't know anyone in the town. But he walked away from me really fast, so I went to a Nando's and tried Nando's chicken, the most disgusting thing on earth. And I watched a Mr. Beast video while I did it. So that was the saddest day of my life. I'm sorry to any Christians watching this. That's probably really offensive. Like after finishing that story, like that's probably really like I think like that's there's something sacrilegious in there, isn't there? But either way, my long story short here today is that I feel like God can probably be traced throughout human history, right? To follow these different ideas. At first, I think monotheism came before polytheism. So like at first we were like, okay, there's a bunch of guys up there, they're the gods, right? And then slowly over time that evolves to be like, okay, there's one guy up there. Like these ideas evolve, right? And I think there's almost, from where I'm sitting, right? As somebody whose perspective is unique but invalid. I say invalid because I don't have any experience with this stuff on a being raised and seeing it level, but also unique because I don't have any experience with it. I'm coming in as an outsider. I feel like there's almost sort of a lack of imagination in imagining an idea of divinity that goes beyond ourselves as humans. And I think that's why I'm so drawn to Buddhism, because I feel like Buddhism is one of those few religions that does what I love of going like, we don't know, like we don't have all the answers. We're gonna kind of sort of worship what's here in the earth and all these things. But like, I think there's almost, to me, again, coming as an outsider, hearing somebody go like, no, we understand what God looks like, or like divinity and all these things, or like God visited him, or like all these sort of ideas. I feel like I look at them as somebody who was not raised in these raised under them, and I'm like, how can you know all that, you know? And I think that's where my conception of God comes from, sort of as being this vapid idea of energy. And I think it makes me look at kind of the very standard idea of God and be like, maybe this is based too much on ourselves, but I don't know. I feel like this is one of those things. One, I hope I didn't offend anyone. One, by snoring in the Canterbury Cathedral. And two, what else did I do here that would be bad? I don't know. I just feel like people who are religious, because religion's a very important thing to a lot of people, obviously. I feel like sometimes when they hear lighter conversations about religion like this, they don't like it. So I really did not mean that. I mean this in the most earnest way, that I just was thinking about this, and I think religion's one of those things I know nothing about, but that's also fun for me because I just get to go wherever I want with it, kind of, to be honest. So hopefully you guys could A, add to my perspective a little bit, hopefully, or B, just tell me I'm an idiot in the comments. This is the painting, so I'm going still with doing the red anatomy, and I wanted to do just a very small portion of the lower torso here, where I don't know the exact name of it. It's if you look on a man, abs, right to the light, you have that curve in. I think it's where they get the V taper for Captain America, whatever. I wanted to do that part, one, because it's one of my favorite parts of the body. I think it has, I think it's on statues and stuff. It's one of the most beautiful parts in my opinion. Weird thing to say, that's on the internet forever. But two, because I thought I could really lock in on the one crevice and just shade it really hard, because that's the thing I've been struggling with on these, as I've told you guys, is I feel like, sometimes the form will be there, but I'll get the shading really wrong. So I was like, let's just focus in on that. And I did, and I'll say it, I think the shading's better. I think I shaded this better. So maybe tomorrow I'll take something of a larger form and try it again with the same shading. Go check this out over on the Instagram. 700 guys watching, only 250 on the Instagram. We do notice, guys. We do, us over on the Instagram, we do notice that, all the Instagram people. I see them and they're like, you guys aren't stepping up. So and I'm gonna have to go check that out over on the Instagram. No, I'm completely joking, but I hope that, yeah. Anyways, until tomorrow, guys, gals, and pals, my name is Max Dice. This is Paint and Talk, episode 96. I'm here every morning, painting and talking with you all.